Okay, we'll get started now. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for attending the second of our FY20 series of Spatial IQ user group educational webinar series for this fiscal year. We've been developing and hosting these webinars on topics that would be of interest to local governments with the aim of increasing your spatial IQ. Our topic for today is Stop the Phone from Ringing. Do you want to extend the slide, Jordan? We are hoping to share with you some tips and tricks for making your MapGeo site more visible with the aim of reducing the number of phone calls Town Hall receives. Several of you receive a monthly report from the MapGeo team detailing your MapGeo site's usage statistics, and we want to highlight some of the details in the report and help you understand it. With us today are Jordan Frazick, started as a planning major and has actually spent 2 years working for local government at Salem, Massachusetts Department of Planning and Community Development. As a career marketer with a degree in urban planning from Salem State University, Jordan has been able to combine his experiences to give MapGeo new insights on local government. We also have Jules Koenig with us today, who is the product manager for MapGeo at AppGeo, and she leads our product roadmap and development efforts. Jules has been with AppGeo for a little over 1 year and has extensive experience with growing software platforms. She has expertise with a wide breadth of SaaS platforms and is happiest when gathering product insights from our customers to provide excellent in-app experiences. And a lot of you know me. My name is Priya Sankalya, and I am a project manager here at AppGeo and a member of the Spatial IQ team. I've been with AppGeo for over 10 years, managing a wide variety of projects from data and application development to analytics while focusing on local government. Just to go over some logistics with you, currently you are all in a listen-only mode. If you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the questions box in the control panel. You should see a control panel on your right-hand side. Your GoToWebinar control panel has a question box, and you can submit the questions there. We will monitor them as we go and answer them at the end of the webinar. We hope to get through them all, but if we don't, we'll make sure we send a follow-up email with answers to all the questions. The webinar, of course, is being recorded, so we will share it along with the slide deck for you to share or review. So I'm going to hand it over to Jordan now, and who can take it from here.
Thank you, Priya. I really appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We really appreciate this as part of your Spatial IQ package. We definitely want to outline what's going on and why this is important. So this is all about gaining visibility into your MapGeo site. And to do that, it's really going to decrease, hopefully, the amount of phone calls that you get from your residents, business owners, developers, etc. So really the problem and solution you can see right here on the slide, and we do put the phone right at the crux of this problem and solution. So it's about creating a self-service hub through your town. So that's what we build MapGeo as, is somewhere where people can educate themselves, can self-service their needs, and can answer their questions. So how do you get more people onto your MapGeo site? That's sort of what we're talking about here today. As I go to the next slide, we have a quote here, actually from Burt Bacharach, where a small town is a place where there's no place to go where you shouldn't. And we really hold this quote dear when we're talking about your town website as well, or your city website as well. So we really want to make the town website a place where you should go, where you should feel comfortable, where you should be able to find as many pieces of information about your town or city as you can. So moving forward a little bit, the single most important thing a city can do is to provide a community where interesting, smart people want to live with their families. And that's really true. It's something that is quoted here from Malcolm Gladwell, but really creating a forum where you're giving off a vibe to your city or town where interesting, smart people want to live. That's something that we hope people are doing with MapGeo, and something that we have some techniques here today that you can explore to make the site more visible, to make it used by more people. And of course, those analytics reports at the end that will show you how to glean more insights from are really important to when proving the value of MapGeo, as well as just showing how many people are using the platform. So we won't name any names, but we ask you about your website. What does it look like right now? Do people have the links in the right places they need to find information? So one of the themes that you'll see here today is that we really encourage you to place your MapGeo link before folks can access contact information. Oftentimes, this is one of the easiest ways to prevent a direct phone call before a piece of information can be found. And so when we see these websites and the people who are doing a really great job, these are people who have effectively put the MapGeo link in front of and sort of veiled the contact information behind it. So what is conversion rate optimization? And we bring this slide up because the act of getting somebody onto your MapGeo site is a form of conversion marketing. So what is conversion rate optimization? Well, it's a system of increasing the percentage of visitors to a website and then having them take a desired action. So in this case, the desired action is to go to your MapGeo site and to answer their own questions and not call you first if they can. So that's just a little snippet into conversion optimization. It's a much larger science, and with much larger websites, you have huge buckets of analytics that people dive through, and that can be a full-time job. So we're not looking for that here. We're looking for easy to implement strategies that local government can use. And so we're going to highlight some MapGeo customers and some MapGeo users that have done a really effective job of funneling people and using conversion rate optimization strategies on their website to good use. And so first, we're going to outline Dover, New Hampshire, a town of only 5,500. A town of 31,000 residents with over 5,500 views a month on their site. So you can imagine that, and by the way, those aren't just views, those are visitors, unique visitors. The amount of views that those unique visitors create is much higher, but you can imagine 5,500 unique individuals coming to the Dover, New Hampshire MapGeo site every month. So we're going to show you some strategies about how Dover, as a town of only 30,000, effectively gets people to their MapGeo site. And this is month over month. So we're talking about average traffic here, and the numbers are usually very consistent across the board. It's not like in any one month or another you're going to get tons and tons of visitors. I mean, when I worked at Salem, you may in October get that, but generally speaking, it's pretty consistent. So we're talking about a high volume of people here consistently month over month, looking into your town or city and finding out things that they want to find out. So another one that we'll check out today is Natick, Massachusetts. 4,800 visitors a month, not too shabby for the town of Natick, and 4,200 visitors a month for the town of Pittsfield. And Pittsfield, and it might even be a city, but Pittsfield does a tremendous job with their website of promoting themselves as a town that people want to live and work in. And we'll show you some strategies about how they get people onto their MapGeo site as well. So first off, we have Dover, New Hampshire, and this is the Dover, New Hampshire planning page. So another theme of this webinar really is to think about MapGeo in a cross-department and a cross-functional sort of way, where we're talking about this being on planning pages, on assessment pages, on IT pages, as well as if you have a GIS department, the GIS pages. DPW pages are also a great idea. So a lot of the variety of pages we'll show you here are important when we're talking about how to portray the map site, but also the placement of the links are very important here. So you can see that on the planning page for Dover, New Hampshire, they have the maps and property record cards on their left side main menu. Sounds like a simple thing, but make sure that on all your pages that are relevant, that you consider incorporating links in the body text of the page as well as in these more main menu settings. That's something that we don't see everywhere, but it makes a really big impact. So again, we're talking about a town of only 30,000 that drives a lot of traffic. And through these simple techniques, that's really how they get it done. So as we move on to the assessor's page in Dover, you can see the very same link. So we don't want to think about this MapGeo link as something to put on one page. It really is a fantastic self-service tool, and we can prevent, that one guy who's always calling the office from calling you, or hopefully that's the intent of this, right? We all know who that person is. We're going to move along here to the Dover, New Hampshire election info page. So if you have layers in your MapGeo platform, themes, as we call them, that are functional towards any given initiative in the city or town, in this case, election information, that is actually located in Dover's MapGeo instance. And so what they do here is they're directing people onto the MapGeo site from the elections page. How are they doing that? Well, you can see right there that they have a map that it makes you want to click it. If you do click it, it expands and gets it into a live setting. So moving on, we're going to look at the Natick GIS page. So these are examples of different departments and different link placements, different buttons. So that image is another example of a way that you can link effectively to MapGeo. And so we want to consider using images, using buttons, using these higher level menu links, as well as you can see here on Natick Mass's GIS page that they have a link directly to their WebGIS in the body of their paragraph from the GIS site. So Natick does some tremendous things. If you haven't seen on the examples pages or the blog on the MapGeo site, the work that Rich Ames is doing with drones, fantastic stuff, really great ways to promote your city all through MapGeo. In addition, I did mention before that the public works page was actually an important place and really a forgotten spot on some sites that we've seen for placing the MapGeo link. The public works is just as important. You can think of the different ways that people may put snowplow routes or other important aspects to public works on their MapGeo sites like infrastructure. The possibilities are really endless, but what we want to show here is that this too could prevent a call to, in this case, the PE there in the Public Works Department. If you can deflect even a small percentage of the calls that come into the department, then you're really implementing this correctly. And so we want to think about all these departments in conjunction with each other. So what we have here is a great example of how to drive traffic to your MapGeo site. This is a really good idea. This comes from the Natick Mass property assessment page. You can imagine how many calls come in from developers, from residents, from business owners about property assessment when it comes in. So, I mean, there's certain really hot times of year that people come to the assessment page, but you can see here they do an awesome job of deflecting these folks from calling them right into their MapGeo site. You can see the phone number and the email link in the bottom of the page, but it is obviously far smaller than this giant billboard that they're giving you here. So they're doing an awesome job of bringing you into the MapGeo site so you can just answer all the questions yourself. And again, we're seeing about 4,800 users per month on the MapGeo site from Natick. Again, not just in side menus on your website, you do want to think about the main menu as well, the very top bar menu of your site. It's a great way to get exposure to GIS in the community. It's a great way to drive links to your MapGeo site. You can see here on Natick's page, they do a really good job of outlining many of the town's functions on their main menu, including WebGIS and MapGeo. So moving on to another example of how you can stop the phone from ringing and how you can really increase visibility. Pittsfield does a great job with their website. They're always updating it and making it visually appealing, as you can see with this nice photo of the Berkshires in the back. And they really give a good sense of the town, the heart of the Berkshires, you can see right here. So on their site, how do they go about creating traffic to their MapGeo page? Well, they do it in a certain way. They have a very unique way of bringing people through their site where it's a little bit more intuitive to a lay user. You could see here on the top right, they have a how do I section. So it's really an action-oriented section of their website. You may want to consider adding some kind of section like this to your website as well, where you're saying, how do I contact? How do I pay for? How do I know? How do I apply for? And in this case, how do I obtain knowledge or obtain property maps, zoning maps, budgets, tax rates? You can see that's all here on their obtain page, the very top link being MapGeo. So an interesting way to think about how people may be able to navigate through your municipal site is to think about different nomenclature like this. How do I is a fantastic way to guide people through the site without being too technical or too mundane. It's kind of a fun way to drive people through the site. So good example from Pittsfield here. So just a few other tips that we want to run through before I pass the baton off here. And that is to use buttons and clickable images. I did mention that already, but we really do want to focus on different visual ways that maybe can appeal to certain people over others, or maybe there's just certain ways that some people will interact with your site versus others. So we want to have as many different forms and as many different link types, buttons, images as we can. Multiple ways to name the same link. Some people may identify with property maps more than they would a GIS map versus an assessment map or a tax map. So make sure to use nomenclature that is close to whatever people may be looking for while they go to these department pages. Again, I did make an example of snowplow routes from the DPW. So cross-department links, make sure that you don't limit yourself to any given page, planning, assessment, IT, you name it. You really want to give this link at as many different places as you can, because MapGeo really is a fantastic tool to have people learn more about the city they live in or want to live in. So it's all about creating that first impression. we want to, again, make this a place where nobody shouldn't go, and that includes the website. So your town, really, to make it look modern, to make it look like somewhere where intelligent people want to live, as Malcolm Gladwell says, this is a great way to do that. So we're going to move on to the next slide here. And actually, we do have a couple more examples, I guess, from Carson City, Nevada. So the reason why this came afterwards is because they're actually not Spatial IQ or MapGeo, I'm sorry, they are MapGeo clients, but not Spatial IQ clients. So we did want to bring in Carson City, Nevada. They actually get the most traffic of any of our MapGeo sites, even as a city of just 50,000. So you can see here that they do that by creating a nice visual button. If there's any questions that people have through the course of this webinar, please do ask it. The questions box is, again, small, as Priya was saying. So if you want to just pop open that questions box at any time, feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like. We'll get to all the questions at the end of the session. So we did want to mention another successful case from our MapGeo clients, and really a well-done website. As I mentioned before, Marlboro, Connecticut, they get tons of traffic, but we love this quote from the homepage, and we just wanted to share this with you because I think that this is something that really reflects how we should all be thinking about our town websites. And it's welcome to Marlboro's newly updated site. Hopefully you'll find it reflects the true personality of our town while providing all of the local information, all the important local information. And we hope it'll be a place that you want to visit often. So that's the sentiment that we are trying to drive here. And it's no secret why, when you have this kind of attitude towards your site, you're going to get as much engagement as Marlboro, Connecticut has. So it's a really great quote there, I think. And next, I do want to pass it over to the product manager here, Jules Koenig, and this is about understanding your monthly MapGeo usage reports. So Jules, are you there?
Hey, Jordan, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Had a bit of a mute issue there. So I want to thank you for introducing the concept of conversion optimization to our listeners, to our watchers today. Hey, sorry, looks like I'm having a microphone issue here. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So thanks for introducing that. I am.
I'm just going to pass my headset over to Jules.
Hey, everyone. All right, I've taken Jordan's headset now. I wanted to thank you for taking the time, Jordan, to explain conversion optimization to our watchers. It's going to be really important as you look through your Matomo analytics to keep this in mind, because that's really what your Matomo analytics that you receive every month report to you. They let you know exactly what your visitors are doing, exactly when they're seeing your site, and you can take insights from those reports and apply it back to the places where you're marketing your MapGeo site, so that way you get more usage. So the first part of our Matomo analytics we're going to take a look at are the visit summary. So the visit summary will tell you your month-over-month analytics of how many people are viewing, how many unique people are viewing, how many times they're viewing your site, and what actions they're taking on this site. So I'm going to walk through this a little bit. Here on the top line, under your visit summary, you can see unique visitors. So what unique visitors means, as Jordan mentioned a little bit earlier in the presentation, is the number of individuals who are visiting your site in a particular month or a particular time frame. So the next we have here are visits. So that's how many times those unique visitors are coming repeatedly to your site month over month. Next we have actions, and actions are addressing what the individual things that they're clicking on the site are. So are they performing a search? Are they clicking on a property? Are they viewing the details of that property? That's all recorded in the actions line item. The maximum actions in one visit is the most number of things that someone clicked on or interacted with on your MapGeo site in a single visit. So someone was on here for a very long time with 306 clicks. The next is the actions per visit. This is an average action across all of the unique visitors for the visits of your site. And so you could see that this maximum actions in one visit is 306, but the average is down to 7. So that one person must have spent a long time on that MapGeo site. It's that one guy who you could cut out that time from being on your phone with. So the average visit duration, again, is the amount of time that those people are spending on your site. A 4-minute average is pretty good. It means that they were on the site, they were looking around for a long time, they were able to find information, probably relevant to multiple properties, as you're seeing 7 actions per visit. So they're probably searching around for a couple of properties and then clicking to see the view expanded details. The bounce rate is defined as the number of people who land on your website and immediately leave. So they are coming to your site, usually referred from a source that didn't indicate that they were going to be ending up on your MapGeo site. And what that can help you understand is how to better market your site on specific pages on your marketing website or your assessor's site or any of the pages that Jordan mentioned earlier. The lower this bounce rate is, that means the better understanding your clients have, your customers, your visitors have of finding your MapGeo site from a relevant source. Now we're going to dig into each of these a little bit deeper because each of these has a section within your MapGeo Analytics that explains a little bit more where these visitors are coming from and what they're doing. So here we have the visits by day of the week. Now this is just the specified date range for the average days throughout the week of the month. It tells you where your traffic is most popular throughout the week. And we'll see here there is a spike Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And you can tell from this site that there's less usage on the weekend, which indicates that people are taking a look at your website during business hours. And what that can indicate to you is this may be a good time to put out, if you're doing an online promotion of your site or any projects that you're working on that you want people to look at, the best days to advertise those things to your community would be a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It's the most popular time for them to be accessing your site. This particular site has pretty even viewage throughout the week and a pretty low bounce rate throughout the week as well. The average time, again, is mentioned day by day, and it pretty much averages out across the week at around 4.5 minutes, a little bit under. So this particular screenshot is coming from the Newton, Massachusetts reporting, and this particular reporting page in your Matomo Analytics is talking about where are those visitors coming from. When they're coming to your site, how do you know where they came from to get to your site? Well, Newton, Mass does a great job on their website of directing people away from their phone number and to their MapGeo site. So that way they're getting more usage from those users and less calls. The other place that they're advertising pretty heavily or have their site listed is the public record site, as well as Boston Globe and a couple of other websites that they have listed their MapGeo site on to refer people to. I would say the top 3 here: Boston Globe, Public Records, the town's governmental site. These are all very popular places for our MapGeo clients to be listing their MapGeo site. And again, they're often the places that are hit the highest, most heavily, and therefore they're able to cut down the amount of calls that they're getting to their site by referring them to their MapGeo site. So here, if you dive down into the line items below this chart, you can see that the assessor's page is the most successful page on their website of driving people to their MapGeo site, which makes complete sense. They have a lot of their assessor information listed here. Next, you can see more assessor's pages, the GIS IT page, and if you go further down the list, which isn't shown here, but they also have a planning page that's referring traffic to their MapGeo site as well. Now, this all points back to what Jordan was saying before. If you have your MapGeo site listed on those pages in a prominent position, you'll be able to direct people to that link, and this in the Matomo Analytics is going to show you how successful that direction is. So I would say that the MapGeo Assessor, the Newton Mass Assessor's page is doing a great job of converting. Here on the city page of your Matomo Analytics, you're going to see the breakdown between specifically where their users are coming from within the state and within the section of Newton. So you'll see mostly their visitors are from Newton Center, and then it goes down the list, listing out West Newton. And this is really valuable information when you're trying to figure out where specifically people are interested in actions going on your site. So if you, for example, were planning something that was happening in Newton Center, you could see a spike here, seeing that a lot of people who are in Newton Center are interested in the planning that's going on there. Or it could also be that people in Newton Center are looking at other parts of the town to be able to see, maybe they're looking at property value, maybe they're looking around at buying houses. There could be a number of things that this particular Newton Center would be looking at. But here again, it gives you a good breakdown of which areas of your municipality are being looked at. Keywords. Now, this is one thing you're going to see, and we wanted to bring this up because keywords can be a big driver to converting videos to your visitors to your MapGeo website. Now, a lot of the keywords here, you'll see keywords specifically are what people are typing into a search engine to find your site. Now you can see that a lot of people have typed in Newton Assessor's database all the way down the line. And up top you'll see keyword not defined. Now I like to point this out because keyword not defined means your browser's doing a really good job of protecting your privacy. It's not going to allow any sites with tracking to see the keywords that you've entered into your browser to find the site, and that's going to happen sometimes. So our analytics are only picking up the browsers that are a little bit looser with allowing us to know what the keywords are. So if you look down the list, Google, keyword not defined, Yahoo, keyword not defined, and there's Bing telling you exactly where your users are coming from. So this is a tip not just for your MapGeo site, but also for you personally in terms of choosing a browser that you'd want to use. So across the board, browsers that are the most popular are going to be Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Internet Explorer. And these browsers allow you to understand how people prefer to access your MapGeo site. Down below where the line items are broken out, you'll see that people are using mobile Safari significantly and Chrome. And what this is telling you is someone's using a phone to access your website. So that can tell you a lot about the context in which they're accessing your site too. They may be on site looking at a house to purchase and looking it up, or it could be a real estate agent who is, again, helping out someone purchasing a house. It could also be a planner who's on site trying to take a look at whether the map lines up with what the plans that they've put out there. And Chrome, of course, is a very popular browser, very safe to be used, and it's telling you that a lot of people are also on their desktop using your website. And this is also helpful for the MapGeo team, so we know which browsers should be continued to be supported over time. And that will help you advocate as well safety and security for your visitors. Next, we have event categories. Now, as we talked about before, events and actions are used in exchange with one another. So you can use event or you can call it an action. On this page, Matomo calls it an event, and the categories listed here are exactly what your users are clicking on your site. So for example, the property search is the top used aspect of your site. So you may want to take a look at how you're utilizing that search on your MapGeo site. It can be customized so that the search is as wide or as narrow as you prefer. You can search for property IDs or property names or addresses, or any other feature detail that's listed in your MapGeo database. We can customize that for you, or if you have the MapGeo console, you're able to customize that on your own. And that can help a lot of your visitors find information on your site a lot quicker. So you'll notice that the next down is properties panel. This is when someone's clicking on a specific property and the details panel is expanding on the left. So when the details panel expands, it gives you all of that property information. So what this is telling you is people are searching a ton for things on your website, but significantly less are actually clicking on properties here. So either they probably clicked on a group of properties to be able to look at details, or alternatively, they went into a different data set to take a look at other properties in a different data set. Additionally, we have themes that are showing up here, as well as how many people are printing out maps and how many are viewing specifically the base map rather than any other themes that you may have listed. So everything here can tell you, what are people looking for? How are they using your site? And how can you use that to inform where you're marketing your site on your marketing pages? If you know that people are going to be looking for a property search, perhaps on your town site, you could list looking for a property, click here to search. And that would be a great way of exactly telling your viewers what they're looking for and directing them to their MapGeo site rather than having them reach out on a call. So that's it for now. I'm going to turn it back over to Priya to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Jordan. This was really great. I hope that all of you can take something out of this, Jordan's presentation of where you can put links on your site to make it more accessible. And then, of course, Jules is a very clear explanation of what your Matomo report looks like. I've often looked at them and kind of wondered what was going on, but this was really helpful, and I hope it was helpful to you as well. We have a couple of questions that have come in from the audience. I'm just going to read them out. What would be a good place to promote our MapGeo site outside of the town website? Jordan, maybe you can take this one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Priya. Yeah, so the question is, what would be a good place to promote MapGeo outside of your town website? Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, there are many places that you can do that. Local news releases are a great idea. So you saw that there was a lot of traffic going to the Newton site from Boston Globe. So you can work with different local newspapers like Patch and other organizations to promote MapGeo. Other things you can do, social media. Social media is an absolute huge way that you can promote your website outside of your actual website itself. So that's Facebook, that's Twitter. Those are really, really good places that you can do that. Standard press releases to the town, you can do that too. And just remember to tell people like during phone calls about MapGeo. Another place that you can promote your site always is phone calls. So if you are on the phone with people, just remind them if you answered a question that could have been answered by MapGeo, just to point it out. And that's a really great way to promote the site as well. I hope that answers that.
Thanks, Jordan. Another question is, do you know of any towns who have used MapGeo to solicit ideas on what the town should do with a particular property? Example of passive or active recreation, or where to put a particular facility, example, a senior center. Jules, maybe some insight on this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we have the town of Marlboro. They are starting to work on a developable lands layer for their MapGeo site. And what this will be is a theme showing parcels with development potential that are 15 acres or more and that don't have a steep slope, or also a certain percentage of wetlands. And the idea here is that developers can use their MapGeo site for potential locations for new, larger development. And if they had something like a subdivision, they could also visualize it on this layer and use it as a planning tool. To think of another one, I think we did an analysis for Ellington, Connecticut to support their plan of conservation and development. And their analysis included a lot of smaller lots as well in order to have a broader list of developable parcels, excuse me, whether it be for new commercial building or a lot merger of adjacent lots or a split of existing larger lots to sell off smaller portions. So yeah, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of ideas on what the town could do with a particular property and how to represent that in MapGeo.
That's great, Jules. There really is a lot that you can do on your MapGeo site, and please reach out to the MapGeo team or your Spatial IQ team as well for any ideas that you might have, or brainstorm with us on ideas. We have another question about the analytics report that was shown. How do I access the analytics reports that were shown? I think I could use these visitor numbers to help me advocate for continued and additional funding for GIS and MapGeo. So we send the analytics report, the Matomo report that Jules just talked about, to the point of contact at MapGeo. But if there's any specific person you'd like us to mail it to, then please let us know, and we can definitely add them to the recipients of the report. I'm going to hand it over to Michelle, who's also on the call, and maybe she can take a couple of these questions. Michelle?
Hi, thanks, Priya. Yep, we have one other question that came in from the audience. It is, should town managers care about the MapGeo Matomo data and why? I think there are probably a lot of reasons that they should definitely care. I know that I recently was on a phone call with the town manager of West Hartford, Connecticut, who was really excited about MapGeo and all that it could do and loved the concept of it being a one-stop shop for everybody to just go to and get all the information that they need about an individual property or about an area of town. So I think he in particular would be really excited to see the statistics that come out of the Matomo reports to validate that people are in fact accessing the site and getting the information that they need. And it also validates the usefulness of their investment in MapGeo. So as the previous question that Priya talked about, the person asking it said that they think they could use it for continued and additional funding for GIS and MapGeo. I mean, that's a great idea. You can take these reports, you know, to the board, to the committee, to those who are going to approve a request for budget and say, look, like MapGeo is doing an awesome job for us. It's stopping the phone from ringing. We're able to get our jobs done more effectively and efficiently because we're not being interrupted all day. This investment is well worth it, and we should continue to invest and maybe even do more. So yeah, those are just some of my ideas. I don't know if Jordan, Jules, Priya, you guys have any other thoughts on that?
I think Michelle, you covered it. This was great. I think we're out of questions at this point. We really appreciate your attending this webinar. And as I said earlier, it has been recorded and will be made available to all Spatial IQ clients and will be on our website. We'll send you an email about it. So thanks, everybody, and have a good afternoon.